There's two words that every NBA fan loves more than anything, and those two words are Game 7. And we finally have that between the top two teams in the NBA this season, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs, going to 7 games. The first time a Western Conference Finals series has gone to 7 games since 2018, and the first time in a very long time where we have seen two top 3 MVP candidates go to war at a level this high, regardless of how you feel about the reffing in this series, regardless of how you feel about the quote-unquote ethicalness of the series, and we have a video about that coming out later, as well as some graphics on our social medias. This is what we love as NBA fans, a Game 7 between the top 2 teams in the NBA, and I think this is almost earned for us considering the abysmal display of heart that the Cleveland Cavaliers showed in their Eastern Conference Finals, basically giving the New York Knicks a free trip to the finals. Obviously, the Knicks just played their butts off and absolutely strapped the best players outside of Donovan Mitchell on the Cleveland Cavaliers, but still, conference finals, you expect to see the highest level of basketball. On the Western Conference side, per usual, you are seeing the highest level of basketball. For those who don't know, Game 6 of the San Antonio Spurs and Oklahoma City Thunder series was tonight at the time of recording this video. There are a lot of things to get into, but I think the biggest story is Victor Wembanyama coming in with this fit and absolutely smoking the Oklahoma City Thunder. 28 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals, 10 of 21 from the field. This is really interesting because a couple days ago on this channel, we said that Victor Wembanyama got figured out. They figured out if we make it more physical and force him to create in the perimeter, it's going to be harder for him to get his offense going. I think Victor Wembanyama took that and he made a choice. One point that we kind of wish we included in that video was that Victor Wembanyama, as he continues to grow and as he continues to rise and ascend as a basketball player, he has a choice to make. Sometimes, Wemby, you can beat these guys by being a bully in the post, doing the self-lob off the glass, getting the rebound, dunking it. You can do that for 7 games. You can do that for 5 games. You can do that for 20 games in the regular season. As long as he is the biggest and strongest out there, and that's probably going to be about 80% of the time, he can play basketball like that. On the other side of that, though, there's some nights where that's not going to work anymore, and you simply have to shoot over people. Having a couple of kill moves in the perimeter, being able to shoot over guys, get to your shot, get to your back quickly, that's going to be so good for him because now he's able to still put up stat lines like 27-12 with 3 blocks while not actually expending so much energy in the post if these guys are bigger and stronger, because no matter who comes into the league, nobody is going to be able to block his shot, and he finally understood that. He made the choice tonight. I'm going to come out and set the tone, but notice how he set the tone from the perimeter. 2 threes early to start the game, and then from there he had a beautiful isolation on Hartenstein where he got to a somewhat type of kill move in the perimeter. Obviously, it's still going to take some getting used to. It's not like he's going to put it all together in this series, but in this Game 6, he put it together. The next biggest story, though, before we even get to the OKC Thunder side, is Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle combining for 35, 11, and 13 with 1 steal. Stephon Castle 17, 5, 9, 1 steal, 5 of 10 from the floor. Dylan Harper 18, 6, 4, 6 of 9 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. This is the first game in a minute where it felt like a Dylan Harper game. I think everybody agrees watching Dylan Harper hoop, his pace control, his ability to space the floor out, it lowers your cortisol. He is just so smooth, and it's so crazy that he's doing this as a rookie off the bench. I want to point out that, again, we called the weakness of the Oklahoma City Thunder months ago. Matter of fact, roll the clip.
Speaking of like the switch, I think the Pacers were like the best matchup for them. They're also a team that was very switchable as well. Like Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner's a perimeter player, sorry. And then you got like Nesmith, guys like Nesmith, TJ McConnell, even though he was hurt. Andrew Nembhard, who should play point guard. He was playing 2 guard against next to Halliburton. So I think that's the main thing. You got to have guys that can, not one-dimensional or can actually move their feet well. I think that's the best way you're going to beat the Thunder, if you can.
And when it comes to outscoring, I think the one team in the West that can do it, and they showed it last night, and nobody can agree with me, that's fine. The Golden State, no, I'm just joking. I do think the San Antonio Spurs have it. I do think the San Antonio Spurs, on the guard realm, they do have, you got Vassell, Harper, Castle, Fox. That's going to be hard to go with in the playoffs, especially if they make a move for a wing. No disrespect to Harrison Barnes, but you get an actual wing on that Spurs team.
Shout out Harrison Barnes.
And Wemby's doing Wemby things they can't, because Wemby is one of those guys where I don't really feel like you can contain him. I mean, the Phoenix Suns just made him post up from 18 feet out. Obviously, that's not going to work for him. But we saw what he did to AD in that first game. We saw what he was doing to everybody. We saw that Wemby had 9 blocks, and Wemby's also a one-man zone, so he's going to slow down OKC. I think the Spurs and the Nuggets probably have the best chance to stop this dynasty.
We talked about that 2025 series with Ja Morant where he went down and Ja said, I figured them out. And it's clear still to me that downhill and fast pacing, the Oklahoma City Thunder, outside of Case and Wallace, maybe Alex Caruso and Lou Dort, their defenders, specifically their bigs, struggle to stop guys who are able to get downhill very, very fast. Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, when they're on, they're getting whatever they want this series. When De'Aaron Fox is on, they're getting whatever they want this series. Even when Vassell decides to push the pace, who we're going to get into in a little bit, they get whatever they want in this series against this OKC team. And this is a weakness that has been relevant time and time again for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now, again, it is coming to a head against the San Antonio Spurs because they have 3 guards who can push the pace downhill. Speaking of the third guard, De'Aaron Fox, only 5 points, 1 of 9 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. That's a bad look, yes, but I think all things considered, I'd much rather have you have a stinker in Game 6 where you still win by 20 plus points than have a stinker in Game 7 where we need you to actually show up and be that number 2 option. Devin Vassell, you are the Mikal Bridges of the San Antonio Spurs team. This is a Spurs team that one could argue in the power forward position is definitely lacking a little bit because they have wings playing power forward. Champagnie, he's not really a true 4. Johnson, he's not really a true 4. But Devin Vassell is a true 3. He is a shot creator. He got his stinker out of the way, 2 of 11 in Game 5, 4 of 7 from 3 in Game 6. Also with 2 blocks and 1 steal, one of them being on Chet. Vassell is a guy who was looked at as a perennial perimeter defender when he was entering the league, and obviously that's a forgotten element of his game, but he's had some great minutes against SGA this series. He's had some great minutes against J-Dub. He had great minutes against Advia in the first round. He had great minutes against Ant. He is a guy who can lock up when needed, and it's being shown time and time again that when they call his number to be a primary defender on these elite OKC offensive shot creators, he's able to do that time and time again. Everybody showed up, though, for the San Antonio Spurs. Julian Champagnie, 10.6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. The 3 shot is still not falling, and I have a sneaky suspicion it's going to happen in Game 7. We're probably going to get a Julian Champagnie legacy game where he's going to go for 27 on like 8 of 13 from 3, and OKC's going to be like, where was this at the start of the series, and why did this show up now? But such a great win for the San Antonio Spurs. Wemby set the pace early, came in with this fit. He knew what time it was. Now, going to the Oklahoma City Thunder, this is not a good look, obviously, right? But the biggest concern is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting shut down for the most part in this series. 15 points, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 6 of 18 from the field goal range, 0 of 5 from 3, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. We said Wemby got shut down. We've said in earlier videos, though, the San Antonio Spurs have the personnel to play Shai Gilgeous-Alexander straight up, and they have the personnel to double him as well. The defense we saw from the San Antonio Spurs in that third quarter, 13 straight missed field goals for the Oklahoma City Thunder. No points in over a 7-minute period. We have not seen that, and that's with Shai on the court and off the court. It's very clear that without AJ Mitchell and a non-100% health Jalen Williams, the Thunder have reverted back to that very bad tale that when Shai Gilgeous is not on the court frying, they don't have another ball handler that can create and facilitate and get shots. Jared McCain can slash, but he's not somebody who I'm going to trust 100% of the time making his own shots in the perimeter. Chet Holmgren, only 10 points, 11 rebounds, 4 of 8 from the floor. Not a bad stat line at all, but you got to do more than that when Wemby has 28 and 10 with 5 stocks. You had Isaiah Hartenstein, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 5 of 10. Not bad. Again, Chet and Hartenstein combined for 20 points and 16 rebounds. Wemby had 28 and 10 on his own. One big man almost cancels out the 2 big men in the front court of Oklahoma. I mean, Cason Wallace probably had the best game for the Thunder tonight. 11 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 66 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 3 of 4 from the 3. He's been very consistent for OKC. Alex Caruso, the 3-shot didn't necessarily fall tonight. Only 7 points, 3 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. Some of that is just missed shots. The other thing, though, is just the defensive intensity of the San Antonio Spurs and also the ball movement from the San Antonio Spurs. 30 assists for the Spurs compared to 22 for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and 52 rebounds compared to 42 rebounds for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The glass has been the biggest story that nobody's really talked about in this series, and the more dominant wins for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They will have 61 rebounds compared to 42 rebounds for the San Antonio Spurs. Whichever team gets to a pace early, and most of the time it is the San Antonio Spurs, and whichever team can control and dominate the glass early most of the time that has been a toss-up this series, most likely wins the game. The turnover battle is now equal. I know Stephon Castle had those games early on in the series that were worrisome, but only 12 turnovers for the Spurs, only 12 turnovers for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Another thing that was interesting in this game, 21 of 25 from the free throw line for the Spurs, only 11 of 12 free throws for the Oklahoma City Thunder. That will be something to pay attention to. I know the refereeing has been a story so far in this series, but even going into this series, the Thunder had 94 free throws total on the series, while the San Antonio Spurs had almost 20 more at 111. So that's going to be something to follow into Game 7, but still, this was just such a great game for the San Antonio Spurs. Only 15 of 41 from three, not the best, but the three shots fell when they needed them to capitalize the runs. Almost 50% from the floor for San Antonio, 41 of 88. Oklahoma City Thunder, 35 of 94, only 37.2% from the field. 10 of 40, only 25% from three. It's going to be so fun to watch this Game 7, but the biggest story is Victor Wembanyama said, look, I can shoot over these guys, and he did, and it was very apparent that nobody could stop him, and I think in terms of the next evolution of Victor Wembanyama, like we said, it really depends when he decides to push the paint beast button and when he decides to be the perimeter demon, because once he figures out how to mesh both of those in his game and pick and choose what role he's going to be depending on the matchup, nobody is going to be able to stop that man. With that being said though, guys, that is going to do it for us today. Again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Game 7 Western Conference Finals Saturday night. What more could you ask for as a basketball fan? And if you are a basketball fan and enjoyed today's video, again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow all these socials in the description: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, X, YouTube, Threads, Spotify, YouTube where you're watching this video. Wherever you get your basketball content, we are there, and we will see you all in the next one.